everybody. Oh my gosh. I am so excited for this right now. Welcome to my first ever Motivational Monday. I can't even tell you how geeked out I am. I literally all weekend long was just like waiting for today. Such a good feeling to be waiting for a Monday, to be excited about a Monday. So thank you guys for joining me. As you jump on, I want you to go ahead and say hello and tell me where you are joining us from. Maybe you're watching this live and you're like hiding out in the break room at your job, or maybe you're watching this on the replay and your kids are taking a bath, or you're, getting ready to put on something on Netflix. Whatever you're doing, I want you to tell me where you're joining us from on this Motivational Monday. So thank you for doing so. I'm gonna give everybody a minute to jump on here, and I thought I better start by introducing myself to those of you that don't know who I am. So my name is Lauryn Laszczak. I am a mama to two girls. I married my high school sweetheart. We both live here in Michigan now. We did live in Arizona and Florida at one point, very warm places. Now we're in Michigan, for those of you especially joining us from out of state. We are currently building a real estate business together, and at the same time, I have been building a beauty business for the past year, which has been amazing and really helps me empower other women through our products and through the business portion, which is the best part for me. And guys, that's honestly what kind of sparked this idea for a Motivational Monday was the business aspect. I meet a lot of women and it's so cool. Like, I've never felt this connected to other women than before I started this business. And, it's awesome because I empower them through the products, yes. But a lot of women want to join me with the business portion of it. And there's a common thread has kind of sparked within just a year. Honestly, within the first 2 months, there was a very common thread with how this went, which was, someone would send me a message. They would be like, oh my God, I love what you're doing. I want to do what you're doing. Tell me how, let me join you. And I'd be like, yes, let's do it. So excited. They felt so empowered. And then the very next day, I would get a message and it would say, I thought about it more. I don't feel like the timing is right, or, maybe it's not for me, or, I talked to my husband, I talked to my friends, they told me it's not right for me, and so they don't go for it. They stop right in their tracks, and they don't go for the thing that's calling them, and I can totally relate to that because, very briefly, about a year ago when I started this business, I actually started the month that I had my second daughter, and at the same time I was about to go on maternity leave and found out, the job I thought I was going to be going back to, I wasn't going back to, and I had a sheer moment of panic. I just turned 30, holy shit, what am I doing now that I'm 30? That situation felt so real. If anybody else out there feels me, give me a high five or something, because I was in a real moment of just, what am I doing with my life? Where am I going? Why am I not in the place I thought I was going to be at this point in my life? And at that very same time, a friend of mine presented an opportunity, and I don't know what it was. It was something inside of me was just this is it. You just got to go for it. I don't know if it's going to work. You may fail. It may suck. It may hurt, but everything in my body is telling me that this is right. So just go for it. And I did, and I'm so glad I did. And I've met women along the way who have this exact same story. I felt like I was alone. Clearly, I was not alone. Many women, this is the progression, and they're in the place they want to be. And I feel like I'm getting there, and it's the best feeling. And now I feel like it's just my mission to share it with every human being possible, starting with you guys, because you're my posse. So I just want to say, that's what I hope these Motivational Mondays will do for you guys, that if there's any part of you that woke up this morning and wasn't excited about what you were doing on this Monday morning, maybe that's a sign there's something else out there. And if you've already been like, look, I've been looking for the sign for a long time, then I hope that you tune in every Monday and you listen to these badass boss babes and their stories. And I hope you hear yourself within them, and then you act. Like, you gotta go for it. You gotta do it. That's what these women did too. So I'm just excited to share their stories. And I'm very, very, very excited to start this off with one of my good friends, Jenna. She is gonna help me kind of ease into this first interview. Thank God. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna bring her on. I hope I'm gonna do this right. So give me a second. Maybe. Don't lose me here. Nope, that's not it. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Yes, add. Okay. Stay with me here.
We did it!
Success!
We did it!
I got real worried for a second there. I was like, oh no, I'm messing this up. Yay! So you guys, Jenna and I have been friends for like, I don't know, 15 years, a long time, at least 15 years, maybe longer, I don't know. And so I'm really excited that you are my first ever guest on here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna let Jenna introduce herself, just kind of give you the lowdown so you guys know who we're talking to today.
Hi everyone, hi Lauren. Yes, we've been friends for 15 years. My name is Jenna Bommarito. I am an attorney. First of all, right now I'm running a successful law practice. I'm married to my husband, who we've been dating for over almost 15 years, almost as long as I've known you, Lauren. And I also run a craft business out of my home as well. And I live here in Macomb County in Michigan, also where Lauren lives. And I'm so excited to be your first guest. I know we've been talking about this for a really long time. So Lauren and I both have very similar, I think, aspirations, even though totally in different, like, I don't know, paths of life. But I think we cross on very similar things. So I'm super excited to be here.
Yay. Oh my gosh, that's so true. And I feel like that's a good point, because you can, I don't know, a lot of times I meet women and right away they think I want to like sell them on what I do. And I'm like, no, I just want to sell you on your best self, you know, like I just want you to do the thing, do the thing that calls you, which I know you've done. So that's why I love that you're going to share your story with everybody. So why don't you, I always like to say, take us back, because a lot of times everybody wants to compare, especially thanks to social media. We all want to compare our middle, or I should say our beginning, to everybody else's middle. So I think it's really important that women hear kind of where you came from compared to where you are now. So.
Sure. So as I said, I run a successful law practice, but I'm going to go all the way back to high school-ish, because I think that's where a lot of people start with their career and their aspirations, and places where either people or society tell you that you think you should know what you want to do. So when I was in high school, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I just knew I wanted to go away to college and get away from home and do something new. So that's what I did. I had no idea what I wanted to do. I definitely, for sure, did not want to be an attorney. I know that for a fact.
Oh my God.
So I started just doing general ed classes at Michigan State, and I ended up loving the creative side of things. And everyone told me, you can't have a career in creative stuff. That's not a thing. And I listened to everyone at that point in my life. But I ended up getting a bachelor's degree in journalism. And I wanted to be a news anchor and write for magazines and newspapers. And that was my way of using my creative side that I really liked and I loved, but being a professional and having a career. Like
balancing it with something real.
Exactly. So I graduated college. I started working for a television company where we worked on advertising and sold ads. And I worked at Fox 2 News, covering their high school sports part-time.
I don't think I even knew this about you.
Yeah.
This is like a revelation.
I worked at Fox Sports, working part-time as well. So I was working like 3 jobs all in the TV creative industry, but it just wasn't me. It wasn't what I wanted to do. So at that point in time, a lot of my friends were still in school, and I just said, you know what, I'll just go back to school. I don't know what I want to do. I'm getting too old. At that point, I was like 22.
Oh, no.
And I'm too old. I need to know what I want to do. So
Yeah,
I
right.
told my parents, I'm going to go back to school and get a master's in journalism. I'm great at writing, and that's professional. That's what I'm going to do. And my parents basically said, no, you're not. You're going to go to law school. And I was like, I don't want to be a lawyer. Why would I go to law school? It doesn't make any sense. And
That's crazy.
sometimes your parents know better than you. And it has taken me 30 years to admit that. Because when I was 22, I still was like angry that I was applying for law school. But I did, and I made a deal with my parents. I said, well, if I apply and I take the LSAT and I do well and I get in, then I'm going to go. If I don't, I'm not going. I'm going to try one time. Well, I got in, and I went to law school.
You're like, damn it, I should have failed that.
So then there I was going, what am I doing here? I don't have a bachelor's degree that has anything related to law school. Like, I feel like I'm starting over. And I had a lot of that, like, regret and guilt. But at the same time, law school brought a huge challenge for me, which is something that I love and I need in my life. I always need a challenge. If I'm not challenged, I'm not happy, which is good and bad, because sometimes that brings on stress. But I went to law school. I started working for an attorney doing criminal defense work, and I just realized that that was something I really, really enjoyed. And I didn't know this, but as a lawyer, you write a lot, and you public speak, and you present to people, and you interview people, and you get to use your analytical skills, and all of those things I never really knew because no one told me. They told me it was going to be like what you see on TV, and it wasn't. So
true.
Yeah. So doing that was actually really a really good thing. And it was something I totally stepped out of my box. Like, jumped into law school is not something I would ever recommend doing, but you can do it, and it happens. So after law school, I worked for a couple big law firms and realized that I need to work for myself. My values and things that I really valued in the legal world of caring for my clients and choosing my clients was something that I felt that I really could only pursue if I was the one running it. So after 2 years of working at two separate law firms, I left and I started my own business. And when I say started my own business, I started my own brick and mortar office. I didn't work out of my house. I rented an office. I had staff, and I can talk a little bit more about those scary things that happened. And then fast forward to today, it'll be 4 years on July 10th. So 4 years next week. Yeah, that I've been out on my own.
That's amazing.
It's so cool. It's crazy. I feel like it was just last year. And everything is great. My life is good. I got married last year, so I survived like a wedding planning year working for myself, which, everyone said that was going to be, one of a big challenge is trying to run a business, be a lawyer and run a business are two very separate things. Let me tell you, plan a wedding, get married, all of those things. And on top of that, about a month after we got married, or right around that time, I ended up sort of falling into, but starting a craft business, which is totally nothing related to be a lawyer. But I have
just
been
keep
like,
those balls juggling.
Yeah.
Just more balls.
I know. It's something that makes me happy. I call my craft business my therapy. I have such a very serious life in my professional world, let's say, that I've always made things and crafted and created things, and that has something that turned into a business for me. And I keep going after it. I could have let it fizzle out, but I'm like, why not? I got one business, I might as well have two. So
yeah.
So today I'm running both of those businesses, and unlike you, my husband isn't involved in any of my businesses, but it's
not yet.
Yeah, not yet. That's true.
This is what happens.
But so yeah, I'm definitely lucky that I can do what I do on a regular basis.
Yes. Oh my God. Okay. So first of all, as you were talking, I was like, don't forget this. Don't forget this. So then I started writing it down because I'm like, I'm going to forget it. So just a couple of things I feel like I need to point out that like I really heard, because it's just like I hear it in your story. I hear it when I talk to a friend about business. I hear it when I talk to a friend about her wardrobe, right? Like it doesn't even have to be business related. but you just said how like you know yourself, like you know that you have to have a challenge, and like that's you as a person, like that's how you get after things. And I just thought like, man, that is so true. Like you have to know yourself to the point, for example, just a small example, if I'm like going through Instagram, I know myself well enough that if I see like another person doing the thing I'm doing, I'm like, hell yes, like that inspires me. Whereas someone else might be like, ugh, that intimidates me. That makes me feel like I'm not in the spot that I should be. It makes me feel like, well, why me? A million other people are doing it. And it's just like that common thread of how you need to know yourself well enough to know, like, is it going to inspire me or is it going to intimidate me? Is it going to push me or is it going to hold me back? Like, and it's just like so applicable to everybody's story, whether you're a lawyer or, you know, a beauty business owner. Like, it's just interesting how you said that. Like, you have to know yourself.
And to that same point too, if something like that does intimidate you and doesn't inspire you, then maybe that's not for you. Like that is a big thing that I think if you are so comfortable in something that really you're passionate about and it inspires you, then go for it. But if you're not getting that out of whatever it is that you're doing, your, you know, beauty, law firm, like you and I are on totally different spectrums of, you know, like our businesses, but there's like same core there. Like, I love it. I love other lawyers. I love when I have other law students that I mentor and they, you know, well, I want to start a business, but I'm going to go work for a couple of years and then do it. I'm like, don't come now. I will help you do it like that. It starts. I'm not like, oh, that's competition. I'm like, no, like, let's do this together, you know?
And you know, like, and that's a confidence thing, I think, because, you know, let's say you're a photographer and you meet someone who's like, I do the exact same photography as you. There's no part of you that needs to be like, I don't know, sometimes we have that moment where we're kind of like either, I don't know, turned off by that or intimidated or like, just like, I don't know, there's just that moment as a female where you're like, ugh. But no, like I used to always think like, there's so many people in this world, they all need photographers. Like there's room for all of us.
Yes,
you know?
Exactly.
But, and you know, it's funny because even how you're like, we're on such different spectrums, we are, and yet, because you even said earlier how you base things around your values. And so it doesn't really matter what the spectrum is. It's all about your values. Like we could have the same exact values in like two totally different businesses or the same business, you know. It's like really getting to understand like, who are you? What like makes you tick? What like makes you want to wake up? Like this morning I was like, it's Monday. Like you got to find that thing that you like want to wake up for in the morning, because otherwise you're just like, ugh, again, like another Monday. And it sounds like it's taking you time to find that, but you find it and then like it just keeps evolving.
Yes, and you find it in different things. And you know, I think that's true too. Like you know, even when you just said introduce yourself, I always like get like that eye roll in the side of my head, like I'm a lawyer, I'm an attorney. Like I feel like we always label ourselves as what we do as a career. And I always do this as a career because I roll my eyes at the word career too, because I think career can mean and is so many different things. And I try not to do that, even though I do out of habit, but it's one of the things that I'm working on is not saying I'm a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer. I'm a person. Like I'm Jenna. This is what I do. This is what I like. This is what I love. I just happen to practice law. Like that is something that, and if you, I feel like when I get stuck on that and when I get into those ruts where I'm not inspired, I'm not challenged, and I go to my husband and I cry to him, I don't want to be a lawyer anymore. And then I think about that conversation later and I'm like, well, being a lawyer isn't really why I'm not happy. And it's the things that I'm doing or not doing usually around my business or my personal life that makes me not happy. But I clump it into this title of I don't want to be a lawyer anymore because that's what I feel like all I am. All I am is a lawyer, you know? And so I need to stop. And that's one thing I'm working on, but I did it today. I'm Jenna, I'm a lawyer. But our society does that. Hi, I'm Bob. I'm an accountant. You know, that's what we do. And I think getting outside of that mindset is that you are not just what you do for a living. that you are these other things, but you do those things and they may let you create a living. It's sort of a mindset thing. And I think that like the Monday waking up dreading things, I get into that rut a lot. And it's always like, it's always the same sentence. I don't want to be a lawyer anymore, but I love practicing law, and I couldn't not do it, but I think putting myself in that box makes me feel really, really not comfortable, and then I implode.
Well, you know what's funny about that too is just the fact of like, you have that moment when you wake up and you're like, oh, I don't want to do this today. Immediately we're like, is that a sign that I'm not doing the right thing? I'm not in the right place. Like, this isn't the thing for me. Like, we immediately, yes. Like, I think because we're women, like, we immediately want to put a reason to it, or want to like find the solution to it the fastest. So like, if you wake up and you're like, it's Monday morning and I don't want to do let's not even take work, for example. It's Monday morning and I just don't feel like going to the park with my kids today. Like it happens, you know?
I don't want to be a mom anymore.
Yes. Immediately. It's like because you then think like, okay, how am I going to figure this out? Either talk myself out of it or talk myself into it. Like, what if we just wake up and we're like, oh, I don't really want to like take my kids to the park today. And we're like,
don't.
Like, let it go, or don't do it, right? Like, either don't do it or realize,
or figure it out.
Yes, or I'm just having a moment where I just had a thought, and it's a thought, like, hello, thought, okay, goodbye. Like, we don't have to analyze it, you know?
Yes, totally.
And if you did that, right, if you overanalyzed it and stopped, you know, the lawyer, for example, stopped doing that and started your craft thing, and then the first obstacle comes, you're like, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Maybe I did the wrong. Yes, and you just want to stop immediately.
Yes.
That's the hardest thing I find, like, for myself or for anybody on my team or any friend who is building a business. Like, we all have that moment where we want to have like this sign, and then we're like, oh my God, this is the sign. This is the calling. And then the first obstacle comes and you're like, oh, maybe this isn't the sign, you know, like,
yes.
How do you get over that? You know, how do you, like, for you personally, when you're kind of trying to juggle these two different worlds and you have those thoughts, like, how do you get over that hump, or like reframe for yourself, reframe that mindset?
Well, I think the biggest root of that mindset or that issue is fear. Is we're always afraid, no matter what. Even if we don't actively feel afraid, we're always subconsciously afraid of something. Afraid of messing up, afraid of not succeeding, afraid of succeeding sometimes. And so I think a big thing and a big, like, I guess, lesson that I've learned in business and that I'm still learning and every single day still work on is fear. Is that you have to overcome fear. Fear is a good thing. If you are not afraid, then you're not doing something right. If you are content, you are comfortable. So I think when you get those feelings of, okay, so for my example, I, was like, you know what, this craft thing, like, people are calling me all the time to make stuff. Like, maybe I should just put it out there and let people know I do this. And, that was kind of a weird thing because to be honest, I'm like, I have clients on Facebook who might even be watching me right now who are like, wait a minute, she makes wood signs? Like, what?
And then all of a sudden you're not credible enough in your area.
Right. And that is, or other attorneys who are like, wait a minute, you paint and then you come to court and represent, like, but that's what I do. And that's what I love to do. And I'm great at both of them. And so having that fear to be able to say, well, I'm either going to like cut off or stop being a lawyer and I'm just going to do this or I'm going to do that. No, you just have to overcome the fear. And for me, it was literally like the click of the Facebook page. Like that was my like moment that I remember very briefly. Was I was like, okay, I'm going to make my craft Facebook page and I'm going to keep it not live for like 3 months and then
not live,
click it, and then share it. It just, who cares? But I think fear is a huge, huge thing that stops people. And I also think it's the old, I'm going to call it the old school, like, society telling you that you have to be one thing. If you are, again, if you're a lawyer, you have to be a lawyer. If you're a doctor, you're a doctor. And I can tell you, I have had people ask me in the last 8 months, oh, so you stopped being a lawyer and now you make craft stuff? Oh, so when did you close your law office? I'm like, what? No, I didn't close my law office. Like, what the hell are you talking about? You know, but people don't understand that you can be two things or have two things or three things or four things. I mean, my husband and I, we flip houses. We have real estate licenses. We do all kinds of crazy stuff also, but that doesn't mean that it degrades or diminishes other businesses that we run or we own. Yeah. So, but a lot of people don't get that. They think that if you are this, and that's it. And I think that fear for us putting that out there or stopping something and not continuing it, like you said, where they're like, yes, I really, really want to do this. And then one little roadblock happens and they're like, okay, I got scared. I'm done. You have to work through it. You have to. If not, there's nothing, you're never going to be able to get through it. You have fear in everything, in your personal life, your business life. It doesn't matter.
100%. You know, I always think like you don't have kids yet, but there was a moment for me when I was like, Ronnie and I like literally had a conversation like, I think we're ready for kids. Let's do this. And then you're like, I look back and I'm like, oh my God, you had no effing clue. You had no, like, you're never ready. You're never ready for kids. But for some reason with kids, you have a moment where you're like, we've decided it's time. But yet we don't do that with anything else. Like we just don't allow ourselves to do that. And you know what? We're never ready. You're never ready. Like
never.
You just have to start. And I think a part of what I heard too was so society based, like, everybody makes you feel everything that's out there, every ad I get on Facebook or Instagram is obviously like about my business and the things that it knows I like. And everyone's like trying to like make it simple, but also it's complicating because they say like, here's the one thing you got to do. Here's like, figure out the one thing you can sell, figure out, you know, they just, I don't know. It's all the social media makes you feel like you got to be really great at one thing. You got to be Joanna Gaines. And like, just do like that thing and let them see you that way. And then you're like, well, shit, then you're just overwhelmed. So you don't start at all.
And that's a great example. Cause so people, when you think of Joanna Gaines, just using that as a great example. Okay. She's really great at her HGTV, like her
interior look, her nature brand.
But look at her and what she does. She runs a restaurant. She runs a vintage market antique store. She flips houses. She builds, like, she doesn't do just one thing.
She's got a cookbook. She's got like
exactly. Like she
could probably start like a veterinarian like place and you'd be like, that makes total sense.
Exactly. But that's like a really good example of like people think that like, oh, she's an interior designer. No, she like look at all the stuff that she's doing. Things.
And she owns it. I think that's why we're so drawn to her because she owns it. And like, that's what takes the time. That's what, if you're really clear about like how you get to that place, you have to like know yourself, like get to know yourself. Like that will probably be the running theme of every single Motivational Monday because it's hard. And as women, we always want to reinvent ourselves, which is great. But we also like are just never, I don't know, like, do you feel like sometimes I look back at all the things I've done and if I'm real specific and real, like honest with myself, there's common threads. Like they're all very different avenues, but I was still the same person. My strengths were still the same in those things. Like the areas that I did really good in those businesses, it was because my strengths were really good. And then the reasons why those businesses didn't work were because they weren't like just the non-strengths. I don't know. It's like getting to know yourself well enough that like, if you really think back, you're like, okay, like really this has almost been the same business, just different vehicles.
Yes.
You know?
Yes, absolutely. And that's the way it works. I mean, that's the thing is you are the business, not, I mean, whatever you're selling or whatever you're doing, it's you, and you are putting in your values like we talked about, or your passions, and those things end up creating a business for you. And whether it's, you know, selling beauty products or selling law services, like it's totally the core is the same. And if you go into a business any other way thinking, okay, I am going to sell TVs because TVs have a great markup, and I'm going to make a lot of money, you're not going to be successful in business. That is just, that's the truth. You're not. You might be for like here, and then you're done, and then that's it. So it's, you have to know yourself, and it takes a long time. I'm still getting to know myself. Like I joke that, you know, when I was in, like I told you guys, when I was in high school and college, I didn't know what I want to be when I grow up. I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up. Like, I mean, I know there is no answer for that. And I feel like other people around you and society tells you that there needs to be an answer for that. And there needs to be a specific what you want to be when you grow up. I mean, I talked to high school kids just this past year in May. I talked to 8 high school kids, and they all were stressing out about, they were in 9th grade, about what because they didn't know what they wanted to be when they grew up. And I literally told them, you guys think I'm like an old lady, and I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. And look it's okay, you know? So
that's what I mean. I have so many friends, and I don't know, just so many people in my life where they went to school for the thing they thought they were supposed to be, and they don't like it. They don't like it. And I'm like, man, if you don't like something, like, you need to stop what you're doing and start something else, number one. Like, stop right now. Number 2, this is real life. We're adults. We most likely can't do that. Just do something for fun. Like, do something that really lights you up because you enjoy it. Like, I feel so blessed I'm doing this thing, and I also enjoy it. But realistically, if I didn't it's not, like you said, it's not about the thing I'm selling. It's about the value I get out of it, not even what everybody else gets out of it. But if I don't get the value first, nobody else is ever going to get it.
Right.
Yeah. And that's that is not a life well lived at all. 100%.
Totally.
Oh my God. And I really liked how you said, because I feel this a lot, and I felt this many times in my life, and I think other women can probably relate. You don't have to stop something to start something new. Because so many women are like, well, I can't do what you're doing. I'm doing this thing, but I really wish I could. Well, figure out 1 hour a day, 1 minute a day, like whatever you need to do, like figure it out. You don't have to stop and be like, I'm no longer a lawyer. I'm giving up my law degree because I want to create things.
Right. And there's always time. I get asked that a lot by people is, well, how do you have time for all of this? Like, how do you do this? And, you know, I feel like I have a lot of free time. I do. I mean, I don't watch TV. But I have time to work out, and I have time to cook dinner. But some nights, you know, 2 nights a week, I might be up till 2 in the morning, and I got to get up at 7. But that's what I do. I make it happen. And, you know, it's just, I struggle with that too, is, okay, well, I don't have time. And usually it's like my personal life I put on the side, like my working out and things like that. Where
100%.
You know, I guess I got to go work and do my other stuff. Always time.
Oh, hopefully you guys
time. Always. You can cut half hour off here, and now you have an hour to go work out when I said I couldn't. Or I stay up an hour later. So what? I don't get 8 hours of sleep tonight. I don't get 7. I get 5. That is how you make things happen. So
absolutely. And I always feel like you're starting to cut out on me. Hopefully you're not on anybody else. And hopefully we stay here. But I always feel like the more balls I'm like juggling in the air, like for some reason I can like throw another ball in there. It's when I let them drop, or like when I go on vacation that I come back and I'm like, ooh.
You can't pick up
like when you're going, you can go.
Yes. You have.
But when you stop, you're like,
be busy. Yes.
So much harder.
Totally.
I totally agree. I think other women will too. Well, listen, I don't want to keep you all day because you do have a lot of balls that you got to juggle still today, I'm sure. So I'm just going to leave it at this. I just want to ask you, I think this is really important, and I think about it all the time. If you were to go ahead and like sit down and write yourself a letter, and you could magically send it back to like your 20-year-old self to give her advice, what advice would you give her?
So I guess I would probably tell myself, don't wait, do it now. Don't wait. I waited at least 2 years, if not longer, before I started my own business, and I should have did it sooner. I could have did it sooner. I thought that I couldn't do it, but I could. So don't wait. Do it now. The longer you wait, the harder it will be. It's kind of like when you take a break from school and you go back, and the longer you wait, the harder it is. That's literally what happens. And kind of back to our conversation about having kids, there is no right time. So if you're waiting for a sign, stop, because there will not be one. If you feel like you are waiting for a sign, that's the sign. Do it. So I would definitely tell myself, do it now. Don't wait. Don't listen to people who tell you that you can't or shouldn't do things. When I started my first business, I was quitting a salaried job with 401k, health insurance, and I owned a house by myself, wasn't married. And of course, my first thought was, okay, next week, like, how am I going to put gas in my car and pay my mortgage and all those other things? And I did it, and it worked, even though people told me, don't do it. You have a job. Why don't you just keep your job? Blah, 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 blah. Don't listen to those people. Surround yourself with people who will tell you you can do it. And if you can't do it, we're here to help you, to make you do it. Because you need those people in your life. My dad is one of those people in my life who's, when I was in 8th grade, he was always you're going to be the first female president of the United States. Before that was a thing, like he's that person who's like, you're going to get up and go to work today. So if you have people in your life, or your family or loved ones are telling you don't do it, don't listen to them. Do it. You can do it. Surround yourself with people who tell you that you can do it. And that, I guess, and the 2 last things I would tell my old self is that, yes, it is scary. Even though you think it's scary, it actually is scary. That's not a lie, but you need to embrace it. So some people are like, well, it's scary, so I probably shouldn't do it. No, it is scary, and it's going to be scary, but that is a normal thing. If you're not scared, then you're not doing something right. And then probably the last thing is that you don't have to be one thing. Because it took me up until probably the last 2 years to actually like realize that in my life, that like I don't have to be a wife, a mom, a lawyer, a doctor, whatever it is. So if I could go back and tell myself that 10 years ago, like I would feel like my whole world would be opened up of all these things that I think that I could do. So even right now, yes, my business is great. It's growing. Hopefully by the end of this year, it's going to be growing into something a lot bigger that I can share with you guys. But I have so many other aspirations and things that I want to do. And me and my husband were just talking about it last week, and he was like, his mind was kind of blown for a minute, but at the same time, he's like, oh yeah, that sounds cool. I think you can do that. Like, but it has nothing to do with being a lawyer, So you don't have to be one thing. Amazing. That is something I wish I knew when I was 20, because I feel like the place I am right now, I could be at like 5 years ago. So.
Oh, I hear that. Oh, that is so powerful. Please, 20-year-old Jenna, hear that.
Take on the world.
Well, thank you. I really, right? I really, really appreciate your time today. Tell everybody where they can find you, whether it's for not real estate, whether it's for attorney services, or even the crafting.
So you can find me on Facebook. My law office is Bommarito Law Firm, or you can search attorney Jenna Bommarito, and I'll probably tag myself down below after this. And then I make personalized craft gifts as well, and my business is Crafty But Classy. And again, the Facebook page, you can just search Crafty But Classy, or probably my name, and it might come up that way. And again, I'll tag us down below. Thanks, Lauren.
And she makes amazing stuff. Every time I see like a shirt or like something, I'm like texting Jenna. I'm like, can you make this for me? Can you make this for me? Like, we have like a long list.
We got a tab.
She's awesome. All right. Well, listen, thank you for your time, Jenna. Everybody else, thank you guys for tuning in. Really appreciate it. First ever Motivational Monday. We'll see where this goes. Maybe in 1 year, maybe we should like put this on our calendar and do a follow-up.
Do it again.
See how things have changed.
I love it. Love it.
Let's do it. Done.
Let's do it.
If you guys loved this, please give us like a heart. Please share this. Like, share it with someone who you think really needs to hear this. I know there's a lot of us who have women in our lives where it's like, hell yes, I feel ya, and I know you'll like it too. So share with those people. We would love it. All right. Thank you, guys. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. And you too, Jenna. Thank you.
Thanks, Lauren. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.